You are listening to the Vicis Interimo show, 7 days ahead shots. All of these episodes are repeat episodes from previous years, but most of the links are probably still good. If they're not, well, it's because you're listening to an old show. But in the meantime, hope you enjoy. And as always, thanks to our patrons, our current patrons, are at Lonely Bob, Big Al V, and Golda Fish.
Like a bullet to the brain. It's Headshots, presented to you by Vicis Interimo.
So it's time for another headshot. And I'm sure some of you are probably figuring it's time that I got back to horror. So with that in mind, when you think horror, there's really one name you think of, at least most people do, Fangoria. So talking about Fangoria, the magazine was first planned under the name of Fantastica, and it was going to be a companion to the Starlog magazine. It was intended to cover fantasy and films and that type of stuff. But that's not exactly how it worked out. The idea was that after the release of Conan, people were going to be into this stuff. And, well, it just didn't quite work out that way. First of all, Conan was delayed for a number of years. So anyhow, other trivia that might be of interest with regards to Fangoria was first assembled under a pseudonym of John Bonham, which is a pseudonym taken from the quadriplegic hero of Johnny Got His Gun. Metallica fans will know that from the song One, probably. Anyhow, first issue was entirely around the fantasy film concept and was a complete flop. So it wasn't until about the 7th or 8th magazine that it finally got into the horror magazine that we know and love today. Actually, it was in issue 7 where they looked at Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of The Shining. At any rate, my headshot today is about the diversification of that and the fact that in 2000 they started to branch out into radio, television, comics. There's, of course, conventions and so on now. But what I want to talk about is the radio shows. So I would suggest that you get to your library and check out Fangoria Presents Dreadtime stories. You can find them online, I think, too. I think you can find it on Sirius Radio, even. But fun shows to check out. I may play a small excerpt of them, but they're kind of like Twilight Zone-style radio dramas. Some of them are good, some of them are fair. But as always, it can be very entertaining listening to something when you've got the spare time. Anyhow, so there you go. That's the headshot for today.
You can run, but you can't hide. It's far too late for that. Welcome to the dark side, where the night never ends. As Fangoria presents Dreadtime Stories with your host, Malcolm McDowell.
They were driving back from a midnight screening of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the special director's cut, when one of them saw the sign. It glowed through the mist above the empty street.
Hey!
What?
There's the Stop and Start Market. Open 24 hours.
The Munchies, huh?
Well, got anything at your place? Not much.
Maybe we should pick up some stuff.
Sounds like a plan.